Tucson. Thank you for coming out today. And without further ado, please welcome Mayor Regina Romero.
Hello, Tucson. Oh, how's everyone doing? I love seeing you all. Tucson. I love Tucson. I love every single person, whether you like me or not. My name is Regina Romero, and I'm the mayor of the city of Tucson, y'all. I still can't believe it every time I say it. I get so happy when I get to say that. I love serving as your mayor. And I love being here today for the conversation that we are about to have. We have incredible people. Our Senator Mark Kelly is here with us. And we're also going to welcome to the stage a candidate for Congressional District 6, Joanna Mendoza. First, let me start by saying this. It is an honor to stand on the ground that have been traditionally stewarded by the Tohono O'odham since time immemorial, and the Pascua Yaqui people who have lived in the Sonoran Desert for thousands of years. For me, it's always good to plant my feet on the ground of history. And that we learn from the history of this land. Today, we're going to have an important conversation on many things, on healthcare and services that help workers and working families and children and seniors. But before we start the conversation about that, I wanted to talk today about a federal raid in our city. And to be honest with you, I have, as mayor, it is my responsibility to take care of each and every person and their safety in our city. We are a welcoming community, no matter the status of any individual that lives here. And as long as I am mayor, we will continue to be a welcoming community, and we will protect every single resident that lives here. We are not going to be led by fear and chaos. And that is exactly what happened today because of a federal ICE agent raid that happened in our city in Ward 1. And I'm going to tell you something very important. We here in Tucson are going to work on our community and our community safety, and we're going to be united. We choose to be united and in solidarity and helping each other. We will reject fear and chaos. And I can tell you that is exactly what ICE and the Trump administration is trying to do on every level in our country. Create chaos and fear. But here in Tucson, we choose community over chaos. We choose love and protecting our neighbors over fear. And I can tell you that we have been preparing for this a long time. Our police officers acted as they should have today, stayed completely away, and protected our residents from what was happening. And ICE will wear police badges, but you will know that they are not our police officers because our police officers show their faces and their names. They show their faces and their names and their badge numbers. And you should also know that Senator Kelly, Senator Gallego, our congressional delegation, especially Adelita, who was there, by the way, today, and every level of government, Board of Supervisors, I'm having conversations with our AG about the planning for this. They will stand side by side with me here in Tucson to make sure that our community is well protected. I had to start with this because it was we were dealing with this all day long, and I received many calls from our elected colleagues, and I'm very happy to say that we stand shoulder to shoulder on this. And by the way, this is happening to our senator as well, right? Trump is attacking our senator because he is telling our armed forces what the law is, right? And we all stand shoulder to shoulder with Senator Kelly. This is the difference. This is the difference, that our senator is courageous versus the chaotic lies that Trump is peddling with. And that we will stand with Senator Kelly with this against these attacks that are being thrown at him by the Trump and the Trump administration. And that we will stand shoulder to shoulder with Senator Kelly to make sure that he continues to fight for Arizonans and Americans every single day. Every single day. Because he's fighting for us in Washington, D.C., and he's doing everything he possibly can to make sure that our families, our working families, our workers continue to be able to afford health care, to be able to afford food. And Trump, by the way, is cutting off every single safety net for our families, for our children, for our seniors. And that in Mark Kelly, we have a fighter that represents Arizonans and represents us. And we should be very proud. So today, it is my wonderful pleasure, a person that has her own history of service to our community, 20 years in the military as a Marine. Yes. 20 years of service, and then working for our congressional office, public service. I remember Joanna Mendoza. When I first ran for mayor, would show up with her child and take her child, I think he was 3 at the time, to canvass with her. She was one of my best canvassers, by the way. And that child made all the difference in the world. But Joanna Mendoza is now running for Congressional District 6, and we've got to win this. We've got to win this, and Joanna Mendoza is the right candidate to make sure that we win back Congressional District 6 so that she can work hand in hand with our senator. So it is my great pleasure to introduce to you someone that you all know and will all help to make sure that we win CD6. My friend, public servant, and candidate for CD6, and the next Congresswoman for Congressional District 6, Joanna Mendoza.
Oh my gosh, thank you for the warm welcome. Oh my gosh, please. Thank you. And thank you, Mayor Romero, very, very good friend and a mentor, and for all the work that she does to keep our Tucson community safe. And I was really glad to hear that the Tucson Police Department, did what they know how to do, which is instill order and the rule of law, which apparently this administration has forgotten about, as you know. So, as I said, my name is Joanna Mendoza. I go by Joe. I am a small town kid born in a small rural farming community called Eloy. How many of you know it? Yeah, so it's a really small rural community, and here I am. I grew up in poverty. Both my parents were farm workers, and believe it or not, I grew up working alongside them in the cotton fields at a very young age, about 9 or 10, until I could get a job, and this was every summer. And what that taught me was that my parents worked so hard. They worked so hard doing backbreaking work in the hot Arizona sun, and they got paid crap for wages. And they had no health insurance. So, because of that, my mother applied for Access. And I was an Access kid. And I will tell you that without that program, I don't think I would have been able to go on and serve my country for 20 years honorably. And I probably wouldn't be standing in front of you here today. So, healthcare is important. It helps and improves our quality of life. After 20 years, a couple of tours to Iraq and Afghanistan, and about 5 years as a drill instructor, I'm not going to yell here. I'm going to save it for when I get to Congress. Yep, hoorah. I feel those aches and pains every day when I get up, every single day. Because I'll tell you what, 20 years does a number on your body, right? So, yeah, that's my story. That's my healthcare story. And this is why it's so important that we elect leaders, not politicians. Exactly. We don't need any more politicians in Congress. We've got a buttload of them right now. And that's why one of the reasons why I'm running, because I am sick and tired, like you, I am sick and tired of the betrayal and the lies and the lawlessness and the chaos. Can we just make politics boring again, please? So with that, I won't take up too much time because we have an amazing treat for you all. And, you know, he needs really no introduction because he's a cool astronaut with a really cool jacket that I want. But he's an amazing person. I mean, he served this country as well. He took an oath of service just like I did. And what we both learned and what he has demonstrated publicly, along with some other members of Congress, is that that oath of service never expires. It is a lifelong commitment that we will carry with us until our last day here on this earth. And so with no further ado, let me welcome Senator Mark Kelly. I don't know which side he's going to be coming on.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joanna. Hello, Tucson. It is so great to be back. Unfortunately, Gabby isn't here. She's on a trip, but I'll talk a little bit about her here in a second. But I want to first say to Joanna, thank you for the introduction. Mayor, it is so great to be here with you. We have the best mayor in the country. She's sticking up for all of us all the time. We could not do better, and I am so excited that that she's going to be here and do great things for us and has done a fantastic job for our city. But let me mention a little bit about Gabby and how I wound up here in the United States Senate. Not what I thought I would ever be doing. I mean, my wife, Gabby, was the member of Congress in our family. And sometimes I think to myself, if I was the person who would have been injured, would Gabby have become an astronaut? She does say yes. I don't know. But what happened for me was, and I think many of you probably realize this, is that in 2020, we're coming up to the end of the first Trump presidency. And I thought at the time that there was going to be a second one. And I was like, well, what can I do about this? I could go help somebody get elected president. I could go out there and campaign for Joe Biden. Might make a difference, might not. But if I could win this Senate seat in Arizona, John McCain's Senate seat, a guy I looked up to when I was younger, like the epitome of service to our country. If I could win that Senate seat, I could make a difference because we could take over the Senate if Donald Trump is back in the White House. And then Donald Trump gave us a gift. He lost. And I thought this guy was going to the dustbin of history. But that didn't happen. And now he's back. I've been in this job for about 5 years. I've seen a lot in this job. I've seen Donald Trump send a mob up to Capitol Hill. Didn't like the outcome of the 2020 election. Was there through COVID, impeachment trial, all kinds of stuff. And I have only been there to continue my service to this great country, this country that has given me so much. I've got to serve in the Navy for 25 years, flying off of an aircraft carrier. I got to be a test pilot and then an astronaut flying into space 4 times on a rocket ship built by the lowest bidder, by the way. And now I get to continue my service as a United States Senator. And by far, the most important job I've ever had. Because the stuff we do in the Senate affects millions and millions of Americans every single year. It affects all of us. When I was at NASA, if I lost the $2 billion science experiment and it floated off into space, would it really matter? Sure, some physicists would be really upset with me. But not like this job. And I am just trying to deliver for Arizonans and the American people every day I go to work. Deliver on things that matter to them, like having a good job and being able to put groceries on the table and being able to afford health care and rent. And it feels to me that at every turn, this president is working against the American people. And I'm really concerned about the United States Navy and the other branches, including the Marine Corps. Where's Joanna? And the Air Force and the Army. All of them. I've been really concerned because what I have seen from the Secretary of Defense and the President is not normal. Let me make this perfectly clear. It is not normal to have a President of the United States saying, we're just going to kill people. Or a Secretary of Defense being out there running around on a stage like this. Bigger generals and admirals in the audience running around saying warrior ethos and lethality, and we're going to hunt and kill people. Hunt and kill people. That's not about our national defense. That's about something else. And I became really concerned. So you probably saw that I've been busy these last couple of weeks. Because I did something I thought was pretty basic. To put out a message that I would have liked to hear while I was serving. And that I sometimes would. And I think sometimes people hear this message. Pretty basic. As the mayor mentioned, telling service members you have to comply with the law. You know, we said don't follow illegal orders. And I thought that would be the last of it. And I thought that if any president would have said something, he would have said, of course you follow the law. Of course you don't comply with illegal orders. And then Donald Trump would have followed it up with something stupid, of course. But that's not what he did. Instead, he said, I should be executed. I should be hanged. I should be prosecuted. And then he sicks his unqualified, unprofessional. I try to stick with the facts. Said he wasn't going to drink anymore. He sicks the full force of the DOD, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, on me for saying something that's in the Uniform Code of Military Justice. You cannot make this stuff up. This is how ridiculous these people are, how unprofessional, how unqualified. But it is serious. I mean, the president said, I should die because of what I said, because I said something that was true and actually in our laws. Now, what does that say to everybody else? It says to everybody, every other American, whether you're a retired service member like me, or you're a veteran, or you're an active duty service member, or you're anybody across our great nation, the message it sends is, don't say something the president doesn't like, or he is going to come after you. So that's why I'm speaking out. This is not about me. This is about the First Amendment rights and the right of free speech for every single American. And if this president, if he thinks I'm going to back down, he's lost his mind. He's got a couple options. One of them is just go take a hike. That's what I ultimately expect him to do. Or he could try to prosecute me. But I'm not going away because I'm standing up for everybody, not only myself. He thinks he can intimidate members of Congress. He thinks he can shut us up. We have oversight responsibility. It is my job to show up every day and hold the president and others accountable for what they're doing. Now, let me tell you, they're doing a lot of bad stuff. I mean, I'd put this on a list. It'll be somewhere on a list of maybe 50 things. I'm not going to go through them. But let me tell you what he's not doing, which is even more important. What the president is not doing. Think about this for a second. Jobs are down. Wages are flat. Costs are up. And this president is asleep. Like literally. He's falling asleep on the job. Like every day. And it's hurting the American people. He's doing nothing to try to help people with the cost of groceries and rent and health care. And I'm going to have the opportunity to sit down here with Joe in a second. We'll talk about some of these issues in more detail. And it really concerns me. This guy is literally asleep at the wheel. And we're 1 year, barely 1 year in to a 4-year term. We got a long ways to go. And a lot of this stuff can get worse before we're able to turn it around. But we're going to try to turn it around. But the way we do this is by winning elections. We just won a special election. Went really well. Adelita Grijalva. Not only is she our new member of Congress in CD6, but because of how dumb these people are, they made her pretty famous right across the country by not swearing her in. They should have swore her in on a couple days after she was elected. You know what they just did in another special election? Swore that guy in like 24 hours. So different standards here. But we won that one, and we have a fighter. She was out there fighting today. We also have an opportunity here to win in CD 8, 6, no, 7. Okay, 6. Adelita's in 7. We're going to win in CD 6, and we have to, because the guy that is in that job right now is just not doing the job. During that government shutdown, I was in Washington trying to get the government opened back up and fix this problem with spiking premiums for people's health care. You know where Juan Ciscomani was? No, nobody knows. That's my point. Nobody knows. He was on vacation somewhere for like 6 weeks. Just disappeared. He wasn't at his office. Maybe he was in his mom's basement. I don't know. He was gone. He is not doing this job. At every turn, he tries to say how he's going to write a letter about them kicking people off of Medicaid. Or I'm going to talk to somebody about these spiking health care premiums. And at every opportunity, every single time, he votes with his leadership. He votes with Donald Trump, and he votes against Arizonans in his district. Every time. But we're going to fix this when Joe gets elected. It is going to be so nice to be able to work with another Marine. I already got Ruben. He's a Marine. It'll be great to have Joe, who's a Marine. In the Navy, we love the Marine Corps because it's like our own little army. Right? But again, thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate it. We've got to. I think of what this president has done. He has turned the United States government into a crappy reality TV show with bad ratings, and it's time to turn it off. So thank you. I don't know where Joanna went. But Joanna's we're going to take some questions. Hi. We'll continue this conversation.
Oh, there it goes.
And we'll also have some questions from the audience. But again, folks, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the support.
All right, Senator Kelly, I know you're trying to get me all riled up by pretending not to know the district. I got you.
I know it was 6 or 7. I don't know.
6, 7.
Isn't that like a thing?
Yeah, my son is going to love that.
What is that?
I don't know. But
I saw that on South Park. Yes, I watched South Park. But only this season. You probably can figure out why.
Well, thanks for coming down. It's really important to be able to have access to your elected officials. And as you know, here in CD6, the current Representative Juan Ciscomani is missing in action. So if anybody has seen him, please let him know that we'd like a town hall. Well, in all seriousness, though, Senator Kelly, how are you feeling? You know, when I saw the video, let's just talk about that. When I saw the video, I thought to myself, this needs to be said. And the video that I'm referring to, as all of you know, is the video that reminds service members that they took an oath to this country and the Constitution and not to a person or a party. How are you feeling about, besides, I know that you're ready. You're like, I'm not going to back down. But how are you doing?
Well, me personally, I'm doing just fine. I get text messages from friends and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? Like, what's, something going on? No, I am fine, but this is really serious, right? You have This is the first time in our country's 250-year history that you have a president of the United States calling for members of Congress to be executed. Think about that for a second. Think about how unprecedented that is. Think of what a violation of the separation of powers that statement is. And by the way, he's not kidding. Right? He didn't just say it once and back off. He said it multiple times, and now he wants us prosecuted. But it is serious, and there is risks to me and my family, not only Gabby, who's already, suffered from political violence, went through the hell, and believe me, it's hell on earth to get shot in the head and have to fight to try to recover from that. And she knows what that is. We do as a family. Donald Trump should. Somebody tried to kill him. And then after the Charlie Kirk assassination, President Trump's running around saying we have to stop this political violence and this rhetoric that causes it. The guy didn't even make it to Thanksgiving. I mean, what is wrong with him? So, a lot, actually. So this is serious. But it's not, again, it's not about me, right? This is about our Constitution and our freedom of speech and the separation of powers. So I'm doing fine. Obviously, we've got to take some extra precautions because the number of death threats that I've received have gone up exponentially, and they continue. And they're not only against me, they're against Gabby as well. So that's what this president does with his words, because I hate to say this, but this is true. More than anybody else in our country, this president's words matter. People listen to him. He has supporters. A lot of those supporters, maybe not a lot, but some of them are crazy. I mean, in any group, there's always a bunch of crazy people, right? So there is a lot of risk, but I am doing fine. Gabby's fine. When you'll appreciate this, when Pete Hegseth tweeted that he was going to prosecute me under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, I see this tweet. I take out my phone and I read it verbatim to Gabby. And by the second sentence, she starts laughing. She laughed and laughed. She laughed through the whole thing because she realizes two things. One, that guy's a joke. And number two, I'm not backing down.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Gabby, as you mentioned, Senator, she's been through so much, and she is really, truly an inspiration to us all. So please give her our best. Talking about the same theme about, veterans and our service members, we know that Donald Trump has never honored military service. Yeah, well, there you go. And, he has made comments calling us suckers and losers.
I think that was intended actually for Marines, by the way.
Oh, yeah, no.
Marines who died at Bella Wood.
No.
How despicable. How despicable does a person have to be to call dead Marines suckers and losers?
Yeah, you're right. That was at Bella Wood when he said that. Because he can't understand what it means like to sacrifice your time with your family to serve this country, a country that you love so much that you're willing to die for it. And he doesn't get that. But you do. I do. The veterans here in this room and across America do. We understand. And so do their families. So, I get my care at the Tucson VA, Senator. The Veterans Administration was under attack by DOJ. They cut federal employees, not only in that agency, but also across our federal agencies. What do you think that, I guess, I'm looking ahead to past 2026 when we overwhelmingly take the House and even potentially the Senate. What can be done to make sure that agencies like the VA have what they need, the resources, the funding to be able to take care of America's veterans and their families?
Well, we're going to have to undo a lot of the rules and procedures and policies that this administration has put in place. We could do that through Congress. Ultimately, he's going to have to sign this as president. So we're going to have to figure out a way to be able to put enough pressure on him through the legislative process to get him to do stuff that maybe he does not want to do. But we can do that. We'll have tools to do that. We also get, when we win back the House and maybe even the Senate, we get the subpoena power. We can have hearings to hold this administration accountable for the awful stuff that they're doing, including I mean, including the stuff that his family's doing to just enrich themselves because of his position as president. So we're going to try to fix a lot of these things. They have done a significant amount of damage to this country. I think folks are going to have to be patient. It's going to take a while. And I think it's going to take even beyond the next term in Congress.
Yeah.
It's going to take, we're going to have to get Democrat in the White House as president, and we're going to have to start putting the pieces back together.
Yeah, 100%. You know, talking and speaking about government and being able to get stuff done, you know, we had the longest government shutdown in our history. And I think the recess was a month and a half long, something like that. I know you were in D.C. specifically trying to see what you could get done to reopen the government. But, you know, the representative here in Arizona 6 was home for a whole month and a half. Did he host any town halls that we can remember? There you go. It was a teletown hall. I think it was like announced 30 minutes before it was supposed to happen. And we know that, you know, Congress has to make some funding decisions or, you know, take a vote here pretty soon, actually, a couple of them. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling? Do you think that that's going to happen? I mean, I'm skeptical, but yet tiny optimistic. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, this coming week, we're going to vote on a provision to extend those tax credits for 3 years.
It's awesome.
I wish I could tell you that's going to fix it. And certainly, you know, healthcare in our country has a lot of problems that need to be addressed. We've got a lot of things to address. I talk to folks all over the state, you know, probably at least a dozen people who, if they lose this, the help with their premiums that they've been receiving under the Affordable Care Act, they're not going to be able to afford their insurance. I remember talking to a woman down in Yuma County who has 3 children. Some of her children have some health care needs. I think she was paying in the neighborhood of like $500 or $600 a month for health care. Hers is going to go to over $3,000. It's unaffordable. So she's going to drop her health care, and then her family is one accident or illness away from bankruptcy. There was another couple I spoke to in Lake Havasu City who they had planned their entire lives. He used to work on ships in San Diego, worked his way up, was eventually a project manager, and had these plans to be able to like retire. And he's old enough to get health care through Medicare, but not his wife. And this is going to entirely change the next several years of their retirement. In a way, he's going to start to struggle because of the way the premiums went up. You could repeat that story over and over again. It's going to affect millions and millions of people across the country. And that's just the beginning, because in 2026, they're kicking all these people off of Medicaid. Yep. You know, poor people who just, you know, people that can't afford health insurance. It should be, you know, we should be able, as the richest country in the world, to be able to help people who can't afford insurance get something.
Yeah, 100%, and well said.
But I'll tell you what happened is, because when Republicans are in charge of Congress and the White House, they pass policies that help rich people get richer. It helps the guy who has a private jet get another private jet. In their big crappy bill, that bill?
The big billionaire bill.
Yeah. They changed the depreciation schedule on private jets, which costs all of us more money, from whatever it was, 7 years down to you can depreciate it all in a year. You get all your money back for buying your private jet. That nobody even knows about that, because it's just one of, like, you know, dozens of really bad things that help the wealthy and hurt hardworking Americans.
Yeah, well said. And it really is a tragedy. I mean, there are folks, and especially in this district, I mean, folks who can't work, who are going to be relying on these programs. You know, I hear a lot, and especially when I'm out and talking to folks in the community, that, you know, I get asked a lot, you know, what are Democrats doing? You know, what are elected officials, our leaders, what are they doing to kind of push back on this administration's agenda? And how are we going to keep them accountable? How are we going to keep Trump accountable? I mean, I have a lot of ideas.
I've been doing something this last couple weeks.
Yeah, you have. It's true. It's true. I mean, I have a couple ideas, but really want to get some insight into what you're thinking.
I think we got to work harder and do more, and shine a pretty bright light on what this administration is doing. And and I don't know if we're going to get to what's going on in Venezuela, but I mean in just about every government department. I mean, look what he's doing to the Department of Education, dismantling it. I was talking to some folks over at Goodwill before I came over here today about programs that they're able to help people access where they can get training and they can use some government money. These are folks that can't afford to get training, to get a job. And the Department of Education is taking that path away from so many Americans. This includes people that are going to go into jobs like nursing. And that's just one example. You can go agency by agency and see things that this president, by the way, we kind of knew it was going to happen. He put it in Project 2025. It was in there. He said it wasn't his plan. Of course it was his plan. He lied. Oh, go figure. He lied. He lied to the American people. So we know what he's going to continue to do because it's in that document. We just have to work harder, show up every day, and shine some light on this so the American people will see what this president stands for, what he's trying to do for his rich friends and his family. Yeah. And when we show the American people this, you know what happens? His approval rating goes down. And if we get to 2026 and he's in the situation he is in today, which I imagine it's going to actually be worse for him, we're going to win some elections.
That's right. So with that being said, Senator, what can people in this room do?
Do something. Just something. I mean, coming here is something. And this gives me a lot of hope that we get all these folks to show up, to hear from me and the mayor and Joanna. But beyond that, do something else, like volunteer on a campaign. If you can afford it, donate a little bit of money to your next congresswoman here. She needs to raise some money. This guy's a good fundraiser. She needs to have the resources to run the best campaign possible. So donate a little money to Joanna's campaign. And then figure out something else you can do to get people more involved and get them thinking about these issues and the direction our country is going in. Because I'll tell you what, I don't think we're there yet. But at some point, this gets really, really hard to fix.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to shift a little bit. We're going to talk about holding Republicans accountable. Oh, wait, we've already been talking about that. How about big tech? I mean, social media is running rampant. There's a lot of concerns about AI, and the energy that we'll need for that. And, we're supposed to, in Arizona, we have sunshine, 365 days a year. We should be leading. We're supposed to be number one in solar and renewable. And we're not, right?
Well, that's, we could have been. We were on track to be like one of the top places in the world for solar energy. Mm-hmm. And if you consider the kind of power that's been added to the grid over the last 2 or 3 years, it's been 90% solar and wind and hydroelectric. 90%. Don't clap, because now I'm going to tell you the bad news. When this president got into office, he made it exceedingly hard to permit solar and wind projects. He has this weird thing about wind and the birds. This guy cares about nobody, and suddenly he cares about birds, which is actually a made-up issue. But he has made it really hard to add these projects, to build them out when they have any kind of federal nexus, when you need a permit from the federal government. And he thinks we're going to make it up with natural gas powered plant, but he doesn't understand is to get a 2-cycle gas generator for a natural gas power plant, the backlog on those things are years. And then he starts talking about coal. He's a big fan of coal. Nobody is a big fan of coal except Donald Trump. He wants to start adding coal power plants. I do not think that's going to, because I think the people that would actually do that would resist it. But this gets to talking about a tech, which I think you mean like AI.
Yes.
And what direction is this country going to move in with regards to artificial intelligence? So let me give you a couple thoughts on that. One is we've invested a lot of money as a nation in this already, not the federal government, but the private sector, a lot. And it's a big reason the economy is growing right now. It's also a huge opportunity. The amount that we might learn about curing disease and material science and chemistry and physics can be transformative for our country. And we need to be the leaders in this. If we're not the leaders, and if we don't set the standards, and we don't work with our allies effectively on this, China is going to be the leaders on this to our detriment. But we have to figure out the power issue, and that's a huge problem when you have this guy in the White House who doesn't understand much. He knows how to build a golf course,
But he didn't build it.
He
Someone
thinks
else
we
did.
have the world's biggest economy because of real estate developers. It's actually because of science and our investment in science.
Okay.
So, but we've got some major issues we have to solve. Here in the desert, we don't have a lot of water. We can't, we've got to be careful with our water. We've got to add power to the grid. I just put out a white paper on this called AI for America, which in this paper, it talks about how we can get AI companies that make AI and companies that use AI to contribute to do things like build the infrastructure we need, the power and water infrastructure, but also how do we retrain people for jobs that we might not know will exist in the future. There's going to be a transition here. We got to make sure people have jobs. People don't have jobs. They can't be customers to AI companies because they don't have any money.
Right.
So we're working on it. It'll be so great, though, when you're in the Congress and you can help me with this.
Yes, and I will. Okay, we're going to shift back to a topic that I think most of us here, probably the entire nation, is really concerned about, and that's our democracy. We're working really hard this election cycle to make sure that we elect leaders that represent our values as Americans. Yes, exactly. And so a lot of people are concerned about election integrity. What are your thoughts on that? I know we have a great Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, who does a great job. Yeah, true. Yes. Thank you for that. But what are your thoughts on this? I mean, should we be doing more on the federal level, at the state level? I mean, this is top of mind, especially, with everything in the midst of all of this chaos right now, this chaos that this administration is causing. Like, we definitely need to win back the House, take back the House, and hopefully the Senate, and then eventually the White House. But what are your thoughts?
Well, the president, people around him, Republicans, maybe not all of them, but probably most of them, realize that when fewer people vote, they tend to win. So they're trying to make it hard for people to vote. They do that in a number of ways. I mean, one is, just some of them are actually ridiculous. Like in Georgia, where you can't bring somebody water if they're standing in line for hours. Even like a senior in this hot and humid, you can't bring them water because they want that person to leave and go home. You'll see here in Arizona, they might try to put like intimidating people at polling places. That's one way you can get people to not go in and vote. They'll try to pass legislation to make it harder. They want to get rid of vote by mail. How many people in here vote by mail? Almost everybody.
Yeah, I think like 80% of Arizonans.
And that's not just Democrats. That's the same number for Republicans. People like to vote by mail. It's convenient. But what happens when you vote by mail is more people vote. They don't like that. Remember what I said? Fewer people vote, they tend to win. So we had legislation in the Senate last Congress that called the John Lewis Voting Rights Act that would make some of these things, nationwide, vote by mail being one of them. In some states, you can only vote by mail, by the way, Oregon and Colorado, I think now. So we're going to have to try, as when we win back the House and hopefully win the Senate, we're going to have to try to pass federal legislation. But in the meantime, we've got Adrian Fontes, we got Chris Mays, we got Katie Hobbs, who are going to stand up for our democracy.
Okay, we're going to shift again. I think what is on top of mind for a lot of folks is what happened today in Tucson, and you briefly covered it, and so then the mayor spoke about it with these ICE raids. I will just share with you quickly, Senator, as a mom with a school-age kid and seeing what happened, what transpired today with the tear gas and just the amount of ICE agents on the ground, there have been reports that these raids are also happening near schools or on school grounds. And, the Republican Party campaigned on keeping Americans safe and securing the border. But what's happening in our communities is troubling. It's egregious, and it seems just unconstitutional. Would you share your thoughts about what happened today? I know you spoke to Adelita. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she was down there at a ICE raid at a restaurant, and there was tear gas. She got sprayed in the face with what she thinks was bear spray, actually, is what she was told, which is horrific. She said she was a member of Congress. They didn't seem to care. These are ICE agents without a name tag. Their faces are covered. Thankfully, Tucson police showed up and were able to, my understanding is, de-escalate the entire situation. You're right. This president ran on getting rid of, gang members and criminals and drug dealers. That makes sense. That's fine. But what he's doing is not that. And a very small percentage of the people that he has arrested and thrown in an ICE detention center or deported are that category: gang members, criminals, drug dealers. The rest are people like a woman I met at an ICE facility who's still there. She's been there for months. Her name's Kelly Yu. She's from Chandler, I think, somewhere in Phoenix, near Phoenix. She is a business owner. She has 70 employees. She's been in the country for 20 years. She's from China. She was fleeing the Communist Party in China, came to the United States. Her mom's a U.S. citizen. Her husband's a U.S. citizen. Her sister's a U.S. citizen. Her kid's a U.S. citizen. She has a deportation order. How does it make us a better country to kick out Kelly Yu? I mean, she's created 70 jobs. She's got multiple businesses. This is insanity to do this. And for them to go and raid schools and communities and just round people up because of the color of their skin or their accent, it's un-American, and it has to stop.
Okay, we have a question from Alan Podolsky from Tucson, who asked, as a retired federal servant, I am concerned about the assault on civil service by Trump, including union busting, loyalty oaths to him, and firing without legitimate cause. What can the Senate do to protect civil servants from the assault on their rights and jobs?
Well, when they got into office, it didn't take them long for Elon Musk to put together his band of Doge bros and run rampant through the federal government and just randomly fire people. I met with a number of these folks. I met with veterans who then had, some of them were disabled veterans who had federal government jobs, who had received outstanding performance reports, and then suddenly they're fired by Elon Musk for poor performance. It seems to me, and everybody else, any lawyers would tell you, that's against the law. The president doesn't care about the law. And you're right, he wants loyalty to him. And I think they will continue to, try to do this. and I hate saying this, and I'll probably hear about it later, but elections matter. They really do. When you give this guy this kind of power, and we knew what he was going to do with it. I mean, he was going to abuse every lever of power that he has. He's trying to do it against me personally right now. We all need to stand up against him. And I hope those folks, in time can find another position, get their job back. It's not making us a safer or stronger or more prosperous country. I think it's fair to say that most of the actions he has taken in office has done the opposite.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, Maureen from Tucson asked, with so much obvious corruption and so many lies, when will this administration be held accountable?
Well, usually in a normal administration, the Department of Justice can hold a president accountable and a White House. But not in this one. He's got it full of a bunch of sycophants. Yes, people that are just going to kiss his butt and do exactly what he says. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. Are they, the Department of Justice, going to hold this president accountable for ripping off the American people? He wants $230 million out of the treasury of your money into his pocket. And at the same time, he's creating these meme coins and then doing the rug pull. And those are his supporters that are buying those. Those aren't folks in this room. It's not me. He even rips off his own people. He takes their money and he stuffs it right into his pocket. And he does it with sneakers and Bibles and bad meat and wine and now guns. I mean, what is next? I mean, he is the con man president. I hate to say it, but it's a very fair thing to say. And this DOJ, they're not going to hold him accountable. There is not a chance. But we have an election in November of 2026, so 11 months away, we have an election. And then, if we went back to House and or the Senate, Congress can begin to hold him accountable.
Well, I just want to thank you again, Senator Kelly, for joining us in the district. And we know your time is spread thin these days, and you're dealing with a lot, especially under this administration. But what final message do you have for the folks in the audience? I mean, or who are listening live? I think there was a lot that we talked about in democracy, our oath to service, that we should all embrace being patriots because we love this country. But what are your final thoughts? What will you leave us with?
Well, I've got a 4-year-old granddaughter. Her name's Sage. She lives here in Tucson. I dropped her off at school this morning. And my daughter, Claudia, lives here with her husband. And I've got to say, despite all of the challenges that we're facing as a country with this president, this Secretary of Defense, this administration, most of the cabinet members, I say most, because I always try to be fair, call balls and strikes. I still feel that we live in the greatest country in the world. And I am still thankful that my daughter is born in this country because we can fix these problems. We are the most innovative country that has ever existed by a lot. We create not only new things, we don't just invent stuff through science, we invent industries. We have the world's biggest economy. We're the most generous nation. I mean, we're generous with people out there that can't even do anything to help us, right? And because of that, we've got friends and allies, and we are safer and stronger because we've got allies in the world. People will stick with the United States. Now, he's doing some damage here, But we have an opportunity. I mean, we have an opportunity to get this all back on track. And, you know, politics, a little bit like this, right? Like a sine wave for those who like math. We can get this back on track, and I really believe we will. And, you know, I think the rest of this century and the next century will be largely defined by who we are as a nation and our morals and our ethics and our values, and not some other country on the other side of the ocean. So with that, stay in the fight, and don't forget to vote, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.